Hello and welcome to the Winners Never Quit podcast. Something a little bit different today, very special environment, special setting, and I'm joined by a very special guest, England international, Sadia Kabeya. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
How's it going? You all right?
Good.
Thank you for coming on the podcast, really appreciate it. As I said, it's the end of series special, end of year special. So yeah, feel very privileged. Very privileged to have you on.
Thank you for having me on.
No, yeah. So let's get straight into it. What has been your highlight of 2022? I mean, it was easy to beat the last couple of years, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
God. Highlight 2022, I think the most obvious would be definitely going to a World Cup.
Yeah.
That'd be my highlight. Going to New Zealand, never been outside of Europe, so to go to New Zealand, was pretty good. I mean, didn't enjoy the 30-hour flight, but everything else about it, apart from the loss, was good.
Apart from, we'll get on to the final. So talk us through that call, because you were in the England setup already.
Yes.
But how did you know you were going to New Zealand? Because that got postponed as well, actually, didn't it?
Yeah. So that got postponed a year, and if that didn't happen, I would not have gone, because I only came into the England setup last year. So I mean, that was probably the best thing that came out of COVID for me. So it gave me a chance.
Totally selfish there. Absolutely love it.
It gave me a chance to get into the squad, but we found out on the WhatsApp group, they put like a team sheet of who was going, and you could find out.
Very 2022.
Very 2022. Before, if you weren't going, they would text you or give you a call, and you could decide. So I said, text me if I'm not going, and they texted you about 10 minutes earlier. I kept my phone in airplane mode anyway, so I didn't take it off until 7 o'clock when the team sheet came out. Checked the WhatsApp group chat, scrolled through, saw my name, and then,
Yeah, what was the feelings there? You know, obviously excitement, nerves, or talk us through, how were you feeling?
Yeah, I was so nervous all day, because for me, I was competing with two women who have been in the setup for about 10 years, got the name, have the ability, have the experience over me. So literally down to the last minute, I didn't know whether I was going, whether I wasn't going. The lead up to the team sheet coming out was very stressful, because they started putting out like teams, like, don't read into it or anything. This is not the team that's going, but can these people start? So I'm thinking, oh my God, what's going on? Can
you lot start, not drinking?
Yeah.
You're not going to Ibiza for the closing parties.
Yeah, so you guys can just do that. It was very, very nerve-wracking. But as soon as I saw my name on that sheet, I was like, relief. Relief, and then excitement.
So you've obviously done the 30-hour flight, which is I've never actually been to New Zealand. Yeah. But I've been to Australia. What's it like when you get there? What makes it different to, I don't know, playing in the Six Nations?
Well, we were staying in Auckland for most of it, so we were in like the city centre. So it was pretty similar to being like in London, but one thing they do is everyone uses scooters everywhere, because I don't know, it must be easier just not to drive. And I think also the people are a little bit more friendlier. You get a few smiles on the street. You don't really get that when you're walking down the street in London. You just go, sorry, I didn't see you.
Yeah, no one says please or thank you to that, or excuse me on the tube.
Yeah, exactly. And also, obviously, the weather is opposite. So it was warm when we were playing out there, which was really nice. So we basically had an extended summer, because we left in September. So that was the main difference definitely would be the people and the weather.
Yeah. Oh mate, no, amazing. So you go on this amazing run, you make it to the final. What was sort of the thoughts in the team camp then? Like, did you think you were going to win?
Yeah, I mean,
because I thought you were going to win. Like, I'll be honest.
That's what we were going to win too. But we definitely set out to go and win. I don't think there was any we didn't prepare to lose at all up until the final. Obviously, we had a 30-game winning streak. I think everyone thought we were going to win. And I think down to the last. Down to the last.
Up until 20 minutes into the final.
Yeah. I mean, no team wants to get a red card, especially in a World Cup final. And to get it so soon into the game, it was very... I would say it shook up the camp, but it didn't. Because I think as England, as our team, we're very much... Everyone does everything as one. win together, lose together. Like if someone goes down, we like fix it, and we like halftime changing room. The vibe was still right. We're still gonna win. Just gotta go out and do it.
Because were you ahead at the break?
Yes. Yeah. I think it was 14-7 at the break. So we were 14-0 up. Got the red card.
14-7 up. Or 14-0 up.
Before the red card.
Before the red card, sorry.
Before the red card, 14-0 up.
Yeah. Winning the break, yeah.
7-7. They scored to try, converted. So I think it was 14-7 at half time to England. So we were still up, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But obviously, knowing that they were coming back at us. So yeah.
Yeah. No, and for anyone who hasn't watched it, literally by 3 points? Yeah. The line out at the end missed. 3
points, yeah.
What was the emotions like coming off? Because it's hard, like, it's hard to look back maybe and say, oh, you know, it's a success, but it was it obviously isn't a success. 100%. And like the game as well, like, there's no way they would have won if you'd have had, you know, if you hadn't had that red card.
Yeah.
Is it Lydia on it?
Yeah, Lydia Thompson.
Yeah. Just unfortunate, one of those things.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, and yeah, bless her. I mean, no one sets out to get a red card or to tackle someone high. I mean, yeah, loads of shoulda, coulda, wouldas to that point. People say like, what if the breakdown was slower? She could have got off the line, could have got lower. I mean, it's just a load of things, but you got to deal with what comes, and we didn't deal with it properly. No, like you said, last play of the game, our Maul had been basically the only thing that's been scoring us tries, and 5 metre line, buzzer just gone, and the buzzer was so loud in the stadium. So like everyone, like you couldn't be like, oh, I didn't hear the buzzer, I didn't know it was full time. Everyone knew it was full time, and then New Zealand just went up, stole the ball, and that was it.
That was it.
And that was it. Yeah.
What was it? The flight back must have been a little bit more sombre than the flight out there. Well, 30-hour flights always sombre.
Yeah, no one's really buzzing for a 30-hour flight, but I think we went out because we went out the night before we flew, which, I mean, rough. But I think halfway through the journey, people are like, oh, you might as well just start drinking again, you know, to get the ball taken over. So, I mean, the first half of the flight, for 15 hours, I think people were like, okay, I'm just going to sleep, just going to reset, you know, wake up, this hasn't even happened. Yeah. And the next half of the flight, people were like, gin and tonic, sign up, here, please. So, yeah, no, it was okay. It was okay. The flight back was all right.
Yeah, no, awesome. So let's go back and maybe talk, I don't know if it's more positive, but the Grand Slam, and that would have been, you know, your first real taste of the English experience. So talk us about because when did it start? What?
The Six Nations.
Yeah, Six Nations.
I think it was March. Yeah.
Yeah, so talk us through that, and how was that an experience?
First Six Nations, pretty cool. I mean, I got my first cap in autumn, a couple of months before, and I've always watched the Six Nations, like watched the men's, watched the women's, and we've won the Grand Slam, I don't know, a couple of times in a row now, not to
biggie.
No biggie. So I knew, obviously, coming into camp, that was the goal, and for me, I think I was just like, if I get any game time, it would be nice, you know. I'm not. I was still very new into the setup. But yeah, I only played one game in Six Nations actually, and that was Italy, and that was my first experience like flying with the team. So yeah, it was really good to like be immersed in the experience, like get on the flights, pack the bags, land in another country, kind of thing. And then I was there for the France-England final in France. Yeah. Which was amazing, and obviously the French crowd really hostile, similar to the New Zealand crowd, and obviously playing any team in their backyard is going to be hard, but I think we thrive off that vibe, and when we were like
that
going
siege
into the
mentality,
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, when we were going into the change rooms after warming up, all the crowd started booing, and I just remember like running into the change room like laughing, like it wasn't even like, oh my god, they're booing me. Like, everyone in the team's like, all right, now we've got to show them like what we can do. So I mean, it was a great experience to be around it, and obviously to be there for the final as well, and obviously to win in France was pretty cool.
What do you what's going through your head on your foot, like, you know, on that game when you walk out onto the pitch at Italy, like?
Yeah, I mean, I was just...
Because I'd be like that, Jack, do not fuck.
Yeah. I think up until the World Cup prep games, I used to never get nervous for games. I was just always like going out, just want to enjoy myself. Yeah, and like have a good game basically. So in the Six Nations when I was playing when I played against Italy and I started that game, I was just like, yeah, I want to go have a good time, hit someone, cut someone in half, you know, and
such a lovely young lady.
Just on the pitch, only on the pitch. And just show the coaches what
I'm not going to put forward. That's your role. Exactly. To get amongst it. Yeah,
exactly. No regard to my body whatsoever. So yeah, that was my mentality at that point. Especially during the Six Nations, just have some fun. I'm here now, so you gotta live it.
Through this year, who's on this England setup? Who's really helped you like progress your game?
Yeah, definitely Marley Packer. She's my same position as me, number 7. She's had that 7 shirt for a long time now. And when I came into the setup, I knew like she's gonna know that I'm on her back because I'm a 7. I mean, yeah, there's no argument. I'm a 7, and there's 3 specialist 7s as well. So I was like, I don't know if we're gonna like vibe, if she's gonna not like me. But like as soon as I came in, she took me underneath her wing. We're quite different players in the way we play, but anything she can do to like help me like after a session, want to run through like line-outs and stuff, because 7s usually don't like line-outs because I'm never in it. So I mean, when I came in and they were like, yeah, you're in this, I was like, oh my God. But yeah, she's been amazing for me this year.
Oh no, amazing. So one of the questions, I fired it out on my socials and that, and like I said, it is the year review. Mm-hmm. What has been one of your favourite sporting moments for the year that you haven't been involved in? And nothing to do with rugby either.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be the Lionesses. That was like this year?
Yeah, that was this year, yeah.
Oh my
God,
it
feels ages ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be the Lionesses winning the Euros. Yeah. I mean, the whole of England was happy. When does that even happen?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely the highlight of my year. I mean, watching it, just seeing like the whole of social media like erupt and like the like just how much, I don't know what the word is.
I would say like, so for me, togetherness, like absolute pure pandemonium. Like people were pure hectic about as well. Like I don't know, maybe some of the same with the England men's team. A little bit less pressure nowadays. Mm-hmm. Like from when I was growing up, there was, you can actually enjoy it, but I didn't watch the final because I was driving back to work. I was listening to it on 5 Live. And like I was like that, oh my God, come on, like I can't have this heartbreak again. Like that was an awesome moment. Another moment for me was because I tried to think of something a bit left field, because I was like, what Sadia might not going to say is when Leon Edwards, I don't know if you watch your MMA. So when he won his world title, because he's had like such a story for like Birmingham, and that was one of my moments personally. Another thing I want to bring up: what do you make of the Eddie Jones sacking? Yeah,
I mean, I said I was surprised when I saw it on England Rugby, because I saw it on Instagram first, like the "Thank you, Eddie" picture, and I was like, oh, this is how I'm finding out through an Instagram post. Yeah. But I mean, I can't say I was that surprised, especially after the run of games they've been having, especially after the RFU putting out the statement just about how basically hasn't been good enough this year. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not in the camp and I can't speak for what his coaching is like. And I mean, I think it's so easy for like fans to be like, get Eddie out. Like he's obviously not doing a great job.
I'll say that as a fan, right? We have no right to comment on anything. Like we just don't. Like,
100%.
Oh, I could have played professionally, mate. No, you couldn't. You played Sunday League football. You played
good.
Pub, like absolute pub rugby, mate. Like no, you can't. So but it's interesting to hear nothing come out through like the WhatsApp. It actually surprised me that there's a WhatsApp. Well, it doesn't surprise me that there's a WhatsApp, but that the team sheet comes out of WhatsApp.
Yeah, I mean, it's always came out like that. I think for ages. I mean, when I was like coming through the stages, like under 18s, we'd get an email of like the team sheet. But what's up?
No, amazing. So another question: from the start of the year to the end of the year, what has been what growth have you seen in women's rugby and women's sport? What have you seen living and breathing it? What's the change been?
Yeah, I mean, women's sport in general has just been going up now for the past couple of years now. And obviously off the back of the Lionesses win, I think there's been more heat on that, and different sports are like, okay, we need to back our women's teams because football have done it, and they've put the resources in, they put the money in, they put the time in. So we need to do that now. And yeah, women's rugby has been growing at a rapid rate, and for me, especially being in it now when it's literally going to, like, I think I've jumped on, well, haven't jumped on, I've landed in this sport at the best time possible, and to be in it and to see like the way we're getting more social media coverage, even for our games. Thank you. Sorry.
I love that. Like that. Worked, grafted, for 6 years, and you're welcome. Done. Just set up a few cameras.
Tick box. Perfect. No. And even to be like having our games on like BBC and ITV. We haven't had
all the
that
World
before.
Cup was on ITV, wasn't it?
Yeah. And to have Six Nations being broadcasted like that. It only shows where the women's game's going, and especially after the World Cup, even not coming away with that gold medal, but we've seen it's like a catalyst for like all the other nations as well. They're like, okay, New Zealand done this, turn their rugby around in a matter of a year. New coach and then now they won the World Cup. England have had a 30-game winning streak. We need to invest in our women's sports, invest in our teams. So I think now it's only going up for rugby and up for women's sport.
Yeah, 100%. Well, what did you say when you started rugby?
Yeah, I was.
At your school, there wasn't a girls' team, was there?
No, there was no girls' team, no. So, yeah, when I started, I was 14, no girls' team, and I'm from South London, Crystal Palace. Most of the girls never even heard of rugby in their lives. So, yeah, when I started, I was literally just playing just to throw the ball around. And then, yeah, now, actually, my school has a rugby academy, and that's for the women's team as well. So, yeah, a couple of years later down the line, you can only see how much that's grown, because now we've literally got an academy for women's rugby in my school.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Okay, best fan reaction of the year?
For me?
Yeah. It's not going to be me, is it?
Well, I don't know, it could be you.
Okay, so my best fan reaction. Good one, no, because I've got to big them up. So when I finished in Miami, my mum, dad, like 40 people, best mate, brought his 6-month-old out, was in Miami. And like to see them after 111 days at sea was fucking nuts. It's funny, I could like come in, and the last 36 hours was well emotional. Like I was literally crying. Like I couldn't beat the current. I was just getting pushed further and further up north. Rode for like 36. Well, no, tell a lie. Woke up, rode for 4 hours. Had a 20-minute break. Then rode for 10 hours. 30-minute break, 8 hours like pure on a rower, and then eventually I I can't even talk. Like eventually beat the current.
Yeah.
Got through and then had to anchor up. Got there, woke up in the morning, and I opened my cabin hatch, and it's fucking windy. Like I'm like, for fuck's sake. So that's bad for a rowing boat. So I'm like, fuck. And then the Coast Guard come out and they're like, right, so just to let you know, the mouth of the inlet's like sort of about half the size because there's a dredging operation. So I'm like thinking, so I'm about to go into an inlet I've never seen. It's windy. But luckily made it in, like skimmed the boat. But people don't realise if I had taken a tow at that point, my record would have been null and void. So obviously get in, the relief is ridiculous. Like, maybe when you first game and then, you have a good first touch or pay the ball. So anyway, we get in and just seeing everyone, and everyone's like crying, like my best mate's blubbering. I'm like, big soft. And that would have been, like, no one was speaking to me, like they were just in a horseshoe.
Yeah.
Probably because I stunk. Like, you know what I mean? 111 days without a shower, mate.
Yeah, can't
so yeah, that was probably my biggest fan reaction.
Yeah.
Scroll.
Nice. Mine was. So while I was in New Zealand, my auntie and my mum would get up every morning to watch the games, and obviously it was at very unsociable hours because we were 13 hours ahead in New Zealand. So they'd be up at like 6 a.m. They'd have like a nice breakfast. My auntie loves cooking, and I knew they'd were watching the videos, but I was like didn't really process it because I was playing the game, it wasn't really in my head. But my mum sent me a video of. Our family friend filmed my mum and my auntie's reaction when they first saw me get player of the match in the first game.
Yeah.
And I like just watching them, and they were like, I could just see how much they were filled with pride, and they were like, oh my God. So they're like sitting there in their like England, like Red Roses t-shirts, like watching the TV. And it was such like a genuine reaction because they had no idea that I had got that. And they were literally just like sitting in the living room, see me come up on the screen, like go to the interview. And I think, that would have to be one of my top fan reactions. I mean, my mum did actually eventually come out to New Zealand to watch me in the semis and the final. But I would have to say, receiving that video, even though I wasn't there, would have to be my best,
No,
best
totally. I like that's the story you told me as well. You're like, your family weren't ever into rugby at all.
No.
Like, and now they're just like die-hard rugby fans.
They absolutely love it.
Got the tattoos and everything.
Literally, they'd have roses on them if they could. Like, anyone they can tell, they're literally like, my daughter. Yeah, she plays rugby. And they're like, who's your daughter? But she's like, here she is. Like, everyone. My auntie.
Just Sadia.
Just so you know, my auntie's like
Grand
convinced her, like,
future World Cup winner.
Right, that's enough. Well, no, now they're huge rugby fans.
What was that first game in the World Cup like? Was there a sense of relief? Because, like I said, with the row,
yeah,
like there's because you put I put a lot of pressure on myself.
It was for me getting on the pitch at World Cup was just like amazing. Like, I went out there not with much expectations. I think we've done so much hard work to get to like on the plane. After we got on the plane, I was like, okay, like kind of breathed out a little bit. And then I actually got COVID the first week that I was in New Zealand. So I was in our like acclimatization period. I was in isolation, and I had a FaceTime call with Mids, our head coach, and he was like, we're looking to play you for the first game. And I had about, 9 days before the first game. So I was in my room like cycling. Fiji. Yeah, so I was like cycling in my room. They like delivered like a bike to my room, delivered some like weights. I'm like, and I was pretty ill with it, so I'm like sweating like my room, like cycling, getting ready for this first game. And then to run out to start. Actually, my first touch of the ball, knocked it on as soon as I caught it. I mean, talk about first game nerves. Literally as soon as that knock comes out of the way, I was like, right, you've got to sort yourself. Sort yourself outside. You're like, you're on a world stage right now, everyone's watching you. After I got into the game, it was amazing. I mean, it definitely was a big relief. Like, okay, you played your first game at World Cup now, like, you're in it. Relax. You can relax.
Best personal game of the year?
Definitely would be USA, England. It was the World Cup warm-up game, so it was basically our last chance to like put ourselves out there. And they'd put me and Vicky Fleetwood, one of the other sevens I was competing with, in the same game. So I knew I wasn't gonna. In my head, I wasn't gonna get a full game. I was like, she's gonna come on, and she's also gonna be trying to get that one spot. So I was like, I need to go out there and put every single thing I can on the pitch. I had 5 family members there. I think that's the most I've had. So it was just a great experience. It was a lot of adrenaline, a lot of nervousness. But I felt like I had a good game, and obviously it was good enough for me to be selected to get on the plane. But it was just a nice day. Like, after you play a game of rugby, when you're really nervous, it's always nice to have your family there after. So
yeah. Okay. Another one away from rugby now. Most shocking moment of the year where you, not saying in your personal life, but something you've seen and gone, Jesus.
I mean, God.
Do you want me to go first?
You go first.
So I got a couple, right?
Yeah, you go first.
I got a couple. The absolute merry-go-round of the PMs.
Oh, yeah.
That was a bit of a joke. And then Matt Hancock in the jungle, I was like, okay.
Yeah, I know. I literally, all my friends are like texting and like friendship. Because
you would have been
chat.
You were away?
I was away.
Yeah.
And we're not into politics.
Yeah.
But my friends are like, Matt Hancock is in the jungle. Like, what is going on? But yeah, I caught up when I got back. Been watching it.
Because it's just a strange one, because I think he didn't come across that badly. And I've seen, do you Diary of a CEO podcast? Do you ever listen to that? So he was on that with Stephen Bartlett, and I thought he came across quite well. But I'm just like a bit like, I'm like, is it the right thing to do? I mean, it's like breaking up with your missus on a Friday, going to Love Island on a Monday. At least give it a month, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Those are two good ones, actually.
Those are two good ones,
I
yeah.
think you might have just taken both.
That's why I got in there.
That's
why I got in there early. That's why I got in there early.
Oh, God. Most shocking. I feel like literally all I can think about is December. And it's only been about, what, 8 days?
8 days of December, yeah.
Like, that's my whole year.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was talking about this with the lads. Like, cause it's strange for me because I did miss like 3 months of the year. Like, I come back in March. And then it was like just a whirlwind trying to catch up with everyone. And then I was like back to work. And then, you know, you had a bit of a summer. And then, you know, the Queen's Jubilee, which was like a big 5 day.
Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah.
Most shocking. R.I.P. Queen.
Yeah. No, that was sad.
Shocking.
Yeah. She had a good, like, I do think as well, because people ask me though, like, oh, are you sad because I'm in the army?
Yeah.
I said, like, obviously it's someone's grandma when you like boil it down like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't argue with, you know, how much of a good royal she was. Like, I do like think she was quite faultless, and she had a good send off. But most shocking moment, I couldn't believe people were queuing for like 24 hours.
Yeah, my mum went.
Yeah.
She was like documenting it on our family WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, it's been 8 hours. I met some friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God.
The big thing for me was like, I couldn't believe people get the time off work.
I know. I know.
You know, like our boss come in and he was like, lads, if you think you're going to try and pull a fast one, saying you're having like 24 hours off to go stand in that queue, you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah, I know.
Back to rugby. Disappointing game of the year. This can be team or personal.
I mean, the obvious.
Don't say the final because you played really well.
I'm not going to go the final. I mean, probably. So my team, Loughborough Lightning, my Premiership team, we had a really rocky start to the year, and we were.
So when does your season start?
It started 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah. With round 3 now.
Yeah.
I only joined last year actually to Loughborough Lightning because I just moved up from Wasps in London, and they were, I think, top 4.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to come into a good team, like we're going to be like ready to go. And I came in like the first 3 games we just lost like not good performances.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the season we like came back. And I think we were like on a good run, on a good winning streak, and then we played Worcester Warriors, and we lost by like 2 points. And I think for me that was my most disappointing game because it was like we'd like done all the hard work, we'd gone through the like tough like first part of the season, we were on our up, and then to have another loss like mid-season, it was like. Come on.
That's another thing we haven't talked about. Obviously, what happened to Worcester
and Wasps.
And Wasps. Yeah. What do you make of that?
I mean, what goes on in the men's game?
Yeah.
Is like.
Oh, sorry. I thought the whole club. So
the whole club did go down, but so Worcester Warriors, the women managed to stay up because they paired with the uni, so they're still going. And Wasps women managed to receive funding from somewhere else, so they're also still going. But I think because like they both go down because the women are paired with the men. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what goes on for the men's side, but from the women's side, I know like girls in those teams were like devastated.
Couldn't
do anything. I mean, I would not. I don't envy being in their position, and obviously for the men as well, with the teams actually going down. I think for two pretty big teams, especially Wasps Rugby, to go down,
nuts,
big news.
Yeah. So what have been the big changes? Sorry, from moving from Wasps to Loughborough. What did that? Was it solely university that made you?
I moved to Loughborough, solely because of university, and then also because I knew they had a good rugby team there. But I think the big changes for me going from Wasps to Loughborough in terms of rugby is Wasps played like a very forward heavy game, and I was very used to just like getting the ball, crashing it up, moving on. When I came to Loughborough and they're like playing all these like out the backs and and I was like, it was a whole new game for me, and I think it obviously changed my game. And don't want to give all the credit to Loughborough, but I think they helped me to get pulled up into the England setup.
Yeah.
So I think it was like I love playing at both clubs, but Loughborough definitely like expanded my like view of rugby and like view of like play as well. So
Yeah, but you didn't start at Wasps, did you?
No, I started at Richmond.
Yeah.
I mean, I've hopped to 3. I mean, I'm only 20 and I've been
Yeah.
to 3 Premiership clubs already. But no, I started at Richmond because I was there for like Centre of Excellence, which is like the under 18 program, and then went into play for the women's team. So that was an interesting year.
Yeah, no, amazing. So the start of this season sounds going pretty well.
Yeah.
How have the results been?
We're having a repeat of last year actually. Okay. I mean, I missed the first 2 games.
Where were you? I know obviously where you were.
I was just on holiday. On holiday, and now all the our team, all the internationals are slowly like coming back in. So we're all on like phase returns, and we've got quite a few Scottish girls, Canadian girls, and obviously English girls. So while everyone's away, it's like it's a whole new team, and people come back in, and it's like finding that middle ground.
Yeah.
So we're actually 2 losses on the bounce. We're playing like Exeter Chiefs this weekend. Hopefully we can get the W. But yeah.
It must be tough. You always hear about it. Players coming back, because if you went out early, you're back a lot sooner. So do you think that how much of a part do you think that plays into the overall performance? Do you think it is? Yeah,
I think it plays like a huge part in the overall performance. I think one, because the girls who have been at home, they're like used to playing with a bunch of people, like with the girls we've been playing with. And when people come in, it's like the like jigsaw pieces start like moving around a little bit. You might not be used to playing with someone who's come back from somewhere, and then also you get a bit of hostility in the air, because obviously people don't want to take people's spaces, but I mean sport is sport, and that's what happens sometimes. But I think 100% it has a huge part to play, because at the end of the day, if you don't click with your team, you're not going to play well on the pitch. So I think once you've been together for a while, you get the cogs turning again. I think that's when the wins start happening. But I do think it has a huge part to play in how teams are performing.
Yeah, no, I can imagine, especially teams that have maybe been together for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And at the start of the season, and you haven't even, like you said, you haven't even got your full team back from the World Cup.
Yeah.
Must be an absolute nightmare. Yeah. What are the goals for this season? Just for Loughborough Lightning first,
Yeah, I think we wanna aim to get back into top 4.
Yeah.
We have a very strong side, and we have the ability to get into top 4 and ability to even win the league. It's just about how well we train, and obviously getting those performances, and like our head coach always says like effort doesn't win games, like that doesn't bring points, and we have all the effort, we have all the team like spirit and stuff, but it's just about putting that on the pitch. So I think our goals for this year is definitely getting into top 4, and then going from there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And talking about the growth that the women's sport's seen this year, what about like next year? What do you have planned personally for next year, and how do you think you can personally like keep that growth going into next year?
I mean, women's sport, women's rugby has only been going up, and me personally, I really enjoy going into schools and like seeing like young girls who are literally like me when I was younger, like getting into the sport, and I like going in and trying to be a part of that, and even just being that face that someone can see and be like, oh, I mean, she's 20 years old, she's 5 years older than me, and she's playing for England, like I can get there, and like, just seeing someone who you can relate to and like be like visible to. I want to be that person. So in terms of helping the women's game and helping that growth, that's where I feel like I can do that, especially being young. I feel like I have quite a good platform to do that as well. But for me, I think it always starts from grassroots going up, because I think right now we're doing quite well at the top of the game, especially in the Prem and internationally. It's now just about growing it from the root down. So if I can help by just being that friendly face, like going and doing sessions with people, even just like replying to a DM, like to young girls who are starting playing rugby.
You must get a lot of them, because like, you're a likeable character, your growth over the past year has been quite a lot. So you must get quite a few, I can imagine. So
I get a few, and always every time I get a new one,
from people asking you to come on their podcast as well. Appreciate it. Oh,
don't worry. No, I always like every time I get a new one, I'm literally like, you messaging me, But no, I love it, and I always reply, because I'm like, if when I was 16, if I was like really into rugby and I messaged my someone I look up to, and if I got a reply, I know I would be like,
buzzing.
Absolutely buzzing. So I always love to reply, and if I can like give them some advice or something, I always do it. Yeah.
One thing that sort of surprised you this year in your career or personal life? I'll go first.
Yeah, I'll go first.
It's alright, because I feel like because obviously I've seen all the questions.
You've already got
I've got a few of them. So, getting a letter off Boris Johnson.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I come back for the row, that was fucking pretty cool. And then also I got nominated for Pride of Britain Award, which was very cool as well.
Very, very cool.
Just never expected, to anything like that to happen. To go to the award ceremony as well, I got absolutely slaughtered. Because I didn't win the national one, I only got the local one.
Okay.
And then like 16 finalists went to the thing. It's funny, my auntie was like, as if you didn't win, you risked your life 111 days at sea. And it's like, all right, it's fine.
Yeah.
Auntie Paula, I took full advantage. Okay. I took full advantage of the free wine. So yeah, those were probably like my two things that were like really nice surprises. So that's what I'd say. Imagine you come out with sort of like, I'd come out with something, I was surprised, my dog died, and then a week later my girlfriend left me, and I was just absolutely snapped. Yeah. That would have really killed me.
Yeah, no.
I'd have been like, you went first. Yeah, I was like, Lewis, that's what I've done.
What has surprised me this year? God, I literally can't think.
Was the England call up? Why did you turn your phone off? Surely that was the biggest surprise.
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move. Come I went to the World Cup. By the way.
Yeah.
That definitely was one of my biggest surprises. I turned my phone off because I was just too nervous. Yeah. I mean, I knew that if I got a text message, it means I wasn't going, and I was like, actually, I don't want to get it early because then I know before everyone else. So I'm just going to turn my phone off until everyone knows at the same time. Definitely one of my biggest surprises because like I said, I would not have thought this time last year I would have been even in the setup, let alone going to a World Cup.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to next year, because we are nearly at the end of the year. Obviously, we've covered what we're doing at Christmas, sleeping.
Yeah.
What's your big goal for next year? If we're sat here 2023 December.
Yeah. I think my goal would literally be cementing myself in the England setup.
Yep.
Because like I said, I'm pretty new into the squad, but like now I've had a taste for it. I'm like, okay, I kind of want to start every game. I kind of want to play every single game. I want to get as much game time as possible, and then also being a woman of colour and being able to cement myself in that way as well. At 20 years old, I think that's all I want to do. Basically, is for me personally. Is making a name for myself now that I'm here. I don't want to waste it. I don't want to look back in a couple of years being like, oh, you was at your prime then, and you didn't do what you could do with it. And then also I think get on top of my uni work.
Yeah.
I need to knuckle down in my uni work.
I love that, mate. Like represent, cement my place in the England setup. Lead by example.
Balance.
Just fucking get my dissertation.
Get my degree.
To be fair, so coming back off that challenge, people always ask, they're like, what's the big challenge you want to do next?
Yeah.
But it's hard because, if you row the Atlantic, first person to do that route, I can't just go and do the London Marathon with like a washing machine on my back. Like, it's nuts.
Next,
Yeah, but I was like, Ross Edgley swam around Great Britain.
Yeah.
So I'd like to do something like that, but he's already done that. So I was sort of thinking, what could I do like next year as a warm-up, and then maybe something bigger in 2024. And I was seeing that someone swam around the Isle of Wight in like 15 hours. I was thinking, I could do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, no, that was the thing. But then I spoke to someone about it, and they were like, is that it? I'm like, hang on a minute, like
you need to stop it.
I was like, you can't even run a 5K. Like literally.
Now everyone's got big expectations.
Like they have, and I'm like, and the worst thing is, it's always like the people that haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Not that
you do it.
Yeah. Not that I like devalue sort of their opinion, not at all. But like I said, if you're not doing the local 5K park run, like you know.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Stay back on the sofa, you know what I mean? So we said one of your goals is obviously for next year, let's encourage, you know, be an example, lead by example, really represent. So how would you say we can encourage more girls to get into rugby?
Yeah, I think it's just really about showing them that it is like rugby's game for all. I mean, there's always a place for anyone in rugby. And I've played a lot of sports, like a lot of individual sports, a lot of team sports. And like coming into rugby, I found like my people and like my space, and like found like what I want to do and where I want to be. And if you come and you play and you think, oh, I'm not that great, you're going to find something in here that makes you want to stay.
Yeah.
Whether that's the people, whether that's the social aspect of the pitch. I think there's always something for someone in rugby and just in sport. And I think there's always a lot of stigma around rugby, you know, it being like an aggressive sport, it being a sport for the boys. And growing up, I also thought like, oh, it's not really like, people might think I'm a bit weird or anything, but I can sit here now and tell you that playing rugby as a woman is very, very cool. And people think it's very, very cool. So I think, yeah, just getting rid of that stigma and just being like, just go out and play. And if you don't like it, you don't like it, but if you do, you know, world's your oyster.
No, that's like a good message, and as well, I certainly think it's cool. And when you're like that, yeah, I just want to get in, like get into them, big physical, like, and I'm like that. Jesus, I want to move far away. No, Sadia, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you know, taking this time out to chat with me, and I hope you enjoyed a little recap of the year, guys. That is the end of our podcast. End of the end of year review. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like, follow and subscribe. It really helps grow the pod. Sadia, cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice one.